Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Accessibility Virtual Information Session. My name is Aaron Duke, and I'm the Director of Student Success. I'm very pleased to welcome you to this session and to Loyalist. This is certainly a year like no other, so we're especially glad that you've decided to join us. We would normally be having this program on campus, but we'll do our best to recapture many of these elements online. We'll review a number of items to assist you in preparing to begin your academic journey. But first, I'd like to introduce you to Ron Byrne. Ron is Loyalist's Senior Vice President Academic, and he would also like to offer some words of welcome to you. Hello, everyone.
Hi, my name is Ron Byrne. I'm the Vice President Academic and Senior Learning Officer for Loyalist College. That's a fancy way of saying that I have the privilege of working with highly committed staff and faculty as they work with equally committed students to achieve your success. And as part of that, I am delighted that you've chosen Loyalist, because I know that that commitment that we have for you is real and to you is real. And Accessibility Services is a shining example of what Loyalist is committed to in terms of supporting students who have accessibility concerns and who are excited to move forward in their education career. Whether you are joining us from high school or from the world of work or from another educational institution, or however you've come to Loyalist, we are delighted that you are joining us for this session today, but also for your career. I think you're going to find, I know you are going to find that Loyalist truly does put students first. And while every institution says that, right? The fact is, I can tell you that I have witnessed this time and time again firsthand. As you go through today's session around accessibility services and the orientation to our services, I want to ensure that you know our views on why we provide these kinds of services. We don't do this just because, quote unquote, we are legally required to do it. We do it because we believe in you. And I can tell you, after working with students who have accessibility concerns for many decades now, I find that many times they are very shy about asking for services or support, or somehow or other they feel that they're asking for different treatment, right? That they want to be treated differently. And I can tell you that's not what we believe. We understand why you think that, but I can tell you, for us, what we're doing is providing you with fair and equitable treatment so that you have fair and equal and equitable access to student success. This is not about asking for special treatment. This is about giving you the treatment that you are entitled to, not only legally, but because it is absolutely the right thing to do. So I encourage you to join us in this partnership, because it is a partnership, by continuing to let us know what support you need. And if we ever do fall short, or there are some other services that we haven't thought about, please let us know, because through this partnership, you will be successful and we will be successful in ensuring that not only you, but future students are provided the level of fair and equitable access that they are entitled to and that they deserve. So I wish I could join you live today, but unfortunately I can't due to other commitments. But I want you to know I'm thinking of you, and I want to congratulate you. I really want to congratulate you on choosing Loyalist, but also attending this session today. It sends a message to me and to all of us that you are committed to your success. And I am looking forward to sharing and being a partner with you on this journey. So thanks very much. Have a fantastic day. And I really look forward to seeing all of you when we finally get through this pandemic. And please never doubt, we will get through this pandemic. In the meantime, stay safe. Welcome to Loyalist, and take care.
Thank you, Ron. Now that you've met the two of us, I'd like to introduce you to a very important group of people, the accessibility team. You'll hear from many of us in today's presentation. First, Lauren Saunier is the coordinator of student success. Lauren is often the first point of contact for students and can also assist you in booking appointments. Both Lauren and I support the full student success team, which of course includes accessibility and the testing center, as well as counseling, student success mentors, and tutoring services. Lauren will tell you a bit more about her role and how you can book appointments and access those services. Bev Denez is our learning strategist. Susan Weatherup is our learning skills advisor. Mary McConnell is the student success mentor who supports students who register with accessibility, as well as all students in the health and human studies programs. And Ted Morrison serves as assistive technologist. Bev, Susan, Mary, and Ted all work closely with students in various ways to provide individualized supports and guidance. Next, we have Heidi Tawes, who is our primary ASL English interpreter supporting students who are deaf and hard of hearing. Heidi and Ted also work with a team of part-time ASL English interpreters who provide service to students across various programs. Finally, we have Brenda Mason, who is the coordinator of the Academic Center for Testing, known as ACT or the Testing Center. Be sure to watch Brenda's video about the center to learn more. And that is our team. Once you've reviewed the rest of this presentation, we hope you'll join us for one of our live Q&A opportunities. It will be a chance to meet many of us, ask questions, and to connect with other new students and their supporters. If you haven't already signed up for a time, please email studentsuccess@loyalistcollege.com to reserve your spot. In summary, all of us on the accessibility team and in student success are here to support you and are committed to working collaboratively with you to achieve your academic goals. I encourage you to stay in regular touch with us and reach out for support anytime. I'll now turn it over to my colleagues to take you through the rest of the presentation. Once again, welcome to Loyalist, and thank you for joining us today.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Saunier and I'm the Student Success Coordinator. So I schedule all of the appointments for the services in Student Success, including appointments for accessibility services. So there are a number of ways you can schedule appointments. You can do this in person by visiting the Student Success Hub desk, which is located on the 3rd floor above the computer lab cell. So when you reach the top of the stairs, my desk is right at the top. You can also book appointments by emailing studentsuccess@loyalistcollege.com. While we're working remotely, this is the fastest way to schedule an appointment. You're also welcome to phone my extension by dialing 613-969-1913, extension 2519. And my office hours are Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So the Student Success Hub offers many different services. These include accessibility services, which you will learn lots about during this presentation. We also have tutoring services, which offers one-to-one peer tutoring. They also offer drop-in math, writing, and computer tutoring. And this is typically done Monday to Friday between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. We also have student success mentors. They can support you with things like timetable changes, deciding if a program is best fit for you, course or program withdrawals. They will work with you in the financial aid office. They run learn-to-learn sessions, and they can also assist with career advice. We also have counseling services. Our counselors can support you in a variety of areas that include personal wellness, whether this be emotionally, physically, or socially. They will work with you to maintain a healthy balance between school and personal life. They can also support you in coping with difficult life circumstances. This can include, but isn't limited to, relationships, whether that be with family, peers, roommates, or friends. They can help you with the transition to college life, homesickness, personal academic expectations, or mental health concerns that you may have. So these are all just examples. They really can help you in any area that you're wanting support in and someone to talk to. With all of our services in student success, we recommend connecting with these sooner as opposed to later. We can of course help at any time, but if you're starting to think you may benefit from one or many of our services, It's best to reach out at that point. The sooner you can get connected to our services, the sooner you're supported. Thank you, and I look forward to scheduling your appointments.
Hi, my name is Brenda Mason. I'm the coordinator for the Academic Center for Testing. We're also known as ACT, or more commonly, the Testing Center. We are located in the Kenty building in the Lennox and Addington wing, which is at the south end of the Kenty building, which is close to the Skills Center. We're on the 3rd floor in room 3L8. Here's a map of where we're located. The purpose of the testing center is to provide an alternate location for students to write tests and exams other than in a classroom setting. This service is provided to students with a disability or for students who miss tests and have been given approval by their instructor to write here. For students with a disability, in order to write their tests at the testing center, they would first have an ISP or individualized service plan established by making an appointment with the Accessibility Center. Part of their ISP may specify accommodations, which include writing their tests in the testing center. This could be because they require extra time or special software. When a student with an ISP chooses to write in the testing center, their instructor sends their test to us and we prepare for the student's arrival by printing it or uploading it to a computer for them. Once we reopen, feel free to stop in and say hi and have a look at the testing center. It will help to know the location and the environment the first time you write here. Also, feel free to pick up a brochure either here or at Student Success. We're also on the Loyalist College website at loyalistcollege.com, our campus academic center for testing. Thank you.
Hi everyone. This is a checklist that would be helpful for you to look at when you're getting ready to come to Loyalist in the fall. And one of the things that we ask you to kind of remember is your student number. The student number is a 9-digit number that you get when you register for a program at Loyalist, and it's one that you would use throughout the time that you're here at the college. Usually you'll get that once you've confirmed that you will be attending the college, and it'll be on any letters that you might have when you receive that offer. Another thing to consider is if you have your class schedule. Now, usually your class schedule might not be available till a couple weeks before school starts, and it would be tentative. So sometimes changes can be made up to a few days after school starts. So just keep looking for it. It will be located in your My Loyalist portal, which is has an icon called a banner, and it should be in banner under student schedules. If you don't have your schedule within a couple of weeks before school starts, you can contact someone at the college and they will help you figure out what's happening, why you might not have your schedule yet, whether it's you have missed something, whether with your registration or you're doing a special timetable, those kinds of things. So keep on the lookout for that. The third point I have is, have you chosen a locker? Now, you don't have to have a locker, but sometimes it's nice to have one for all the equipment or the books that you have, so that you're not carrying them throughout the college from class to class, and you can kind of drop them off when you aren't using them, and your winter clothes and things like that. So you can pick one wherever you want, put a lock on it yourself, and write down the number so you don't forget, and then you can use it throughout the time they suggest that you take the lock off at the end of your semester or your year and lock it when you come back the next year. So you can use it the whole time or you can change it. It's totally up to you. Another point that we like you to consider is have you brought in your documentation? So the documentation is helpful for us to provide the supports that you will need, and it kind of clarifies what you're saying your disability is, what kinds of challenges you face, any of that information that will be relative to getting supports. It will be much easier to do it before you start school than after when you get really busy. Have you applied for OSAP? So OSAP is the Ontario Student Assistance Program, a loan program that you can apply for. Any student can apply for it if they're in Canada. And it's usually, the portal's open probably May for anyone entering the September or January start programs. And if you need help, there's always someone at the college that can support you, kind of walk you through the steps and make sure that you get everything that you need to ensure that you get the loans you're going to need for school. Also bursaries. Loyalist has probably $1 million worth of bursaries that students can apply for. And the portal usually opens up mid-August to mid-September, where you can look at all the different bursaries that are there to see what you qualify for and apply for them. There's always someone around that can help you with those as well. Many of them are based on financial need. So most students do have financial needs. So that's, it's worthwhile applying. It only takes a little bit of time, and the money is free. You don't have to claim it on your taxes or your OSAP or anything like that. Do you know where you're going on orientation day? That's always a question, and what we recommend is that once you have accepted your offer, you have your Loyalist email and your username password for your My Loyalist portal, is to consistently, regularly check in on your emails and on your My Loyalist portal to see what the schedule will look like for orientation day. There's usually an overall college orientation, and then your program would have a different piece included in that day to prepare you for your courses, whatever the program expectations are, that kind of thing. And another thing to think about is, do you need a parking pass? If you're driving, you will want to get a parking pass. They can be applied for through your My Loyalist portal, and it gives you options if you want to do it monthly, by the semester, or by the entire year. And usually the year is most financially feasible. It's a better price going, as a bulk price. It's the best way to go. But you might, if you're not driving, you might want to look into the city bus passes, and the bus passes are available at City Hall. So you would have to apply for those as well, providing information, and then pay for them down there. And then anything else that you might have questions about or that you're not sure about, you can contact us at Accessibility Services or Student Success, and we'll do our best to make sure we provide the answers, or find someone who can provide the answers, so that you are really ready and prepared for your first day of classes. Any other things you can look, there's a lot of information on the Loyalist website. So it has lots of information once you received your offer and you've accepted it. Then there's lots of different steps and a checklist on there as well. So keep an eye out for that as well. We'll go on to the next slide.
Hi, my name is Bev, and I'm going to review the intake process with accessibility services. Intake is needed for any student requesting accessibility supports, and we suggest intake to be completed as soon as possible. The first step is the application form. Once it's completed and sent to Lauren, the coordinator of student success, she will contact you to arrange an appointment with one of the staff members with accessibility services, such as Susan, Ted, Mary, or myself, Bev, to discuss academic concerns and accommodations. The appointment can be over the phone or through Microsoft Teams, but make sure you download Microsoft Teams first. The link is embedded in the slide. Next is documentation. We use a three-prong approach when creating an ISP, an individualized service plan, which is much like an IEP, and Susan will be discussing on the next slide. We like to include student preferences, their program and documentation to support the accommodation requests. Even though an IEP is helpful when identifying past supports, in some circumstances, a psychoeducational assessment, psychological assessment, neuropsychological assessment, and medical documentation are needed to better understand your functional limitations or what barriers you're experiencing when you're trying to learn, such as poor spelling skills or slow reading. These reports typically include academic recommendations, such as extra test time, exam time, or assistive technology, such as Kurzweil, Dragon Naturally Speaking, WordQ, Google Read and Write. Next is a confidentiality agreement. During our first appointment, we ask students to complete and sign this form, which provides us permission to speak with other people here at Loyalist College, such as other members of student success, your faculty, the financial aid office, etc. The information included on the form is your name, your birth date, student number, funding source such as OSAP, ODSP, or if you're self-funded, contact information. And on the back is where you would sign. We stress the importance of keeping your personal information confidential, but if there is a health and safety risk, we may breach confidentiality, and this is outlined on the back of the form. Next, we like to have a copy of your schedule. It's necessary for us to know which classes you are taking and your instructors' names. So if you require an ISP, we can send it to them. And again, Susan will explain that process in the next slide. And last is a reduced tuition fee. If a student is carrying a course load of 70% or less, they are considered a part-time student here at Loyalist. We track this information because there is a change in fees once a student has paid the same amount of tuition in comparison to a student taking a full course load and could be eligible for reduced tuition of $20 per course. We do require documentation to support a permanent disability diagnosis, and the accessibility staff can review during your appointment. And again, you can check the link out to our website. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Susan Mederup, and I'm a Learning Skills Advisor in the Accessibility Services Department here at Loyalist College. Some of our students are registered in our office may require accommodations. Examples of accommodations include extended test time, assistive technology, note-taking services, etc. As Bev mentioned in the previous slide, specific documentation is key to determining appropriate accommodations for our students. A meeting will be scheduled with an accessibility services team member to review documentation, and if appropriate, an ISP will be created. Some students in high school may have had an IEP or an individualized education plan. An ISP is similar to an IEP as they both discuss accommodation needs, but with a key difference. On the ISP, the student's diagnosis or reason for the ISP is not noted. We provide a confidential service, and an identification of diagnosis is not shared without the student's consent. An ISP will be sent electronically to the faculty to inform them of any accommodation needs that the students may have.
It is important to note that you will have to book an appointment with your accessibility services team member to get a new ISP created at the beginning of each semester. It is also important to note that an ISP can be created or changed at any time throughout the semester. If you have any questions regarding documentation and accommodations, it is recommended that you make an appointment with an accessibility services team member to discuss further.
So this slide is to describe the differences between high school and college. So one of the things that we find might be quite a bit different is class time. When you're in high school, you usually have your 6 hours a day, and it's the same kind of schedule every day for the whole semester. Whereas in college, you would get a total of 20 hours a week versus your 30. And the 20 hours are different each day. So one day it might be 2 hours, one day it might be 6 hours, and so on throughout the week. And that continues for our semester, which you'll find is a lot shorter than the high school semester. Our semester starts in September and goes to the middle of December, and that includes an hour or a 1 week reading week where there are no classes. Class size is another thing that can be a little bit different in high school compared to college. So usually your high school classes are 35 students maybe, which is a good number. And in college, the numbers vary quite dramatically. It could be 15 students, or it could be up to as high as 100 and 150 students, depending on the program that you're in. And you'll find more about that when you attend your first day of classes. Study time also changes a little between high school and college. Now, I know some students study more than others, but the average they suggested for high school was 1 to 2 hours a day. Some do less, some do more. But in college, they suggest 3 to 4 hours per day, or for every hour of class, you would have 2 to 4 hours of study time. And of course, that changes depending on the course and the program. So you will learn quickly which courses will require a lot more study time than others. And study time means not just studying, but doing your readings, maybe doing some research, working on homework, working on assignments, or doing group work with some peers that are in your class. Testing is a little different as well between high school and college. So in high school, you may have had weekly tests, quizzes, those kinds of things. So you have smaller amount of content that you would be tested on. Whereas in college, there are a lot less tests, plus a midterm and final exam, where you'll find there's a lot more to study from. You have to be prepared for maybe 2 months worth of classes for one test. So you'll find that is quite a big difference, and you may have to find new ways of studying so that you can be successful. I find that students that never had to study in high school suddenly find themselves having to study and finding new strategies to help them be successful. And grading is a little different between high school and college as well. In high school, your evaluation may have also been related to what your effort was. How hard did you try? And they might give you a better grade based on that. But in college, while they appreciate your effort, you are graded on your understanding of the course content, being able to explain or understand what you've learned in the class. And that's a little bit different. You can pass with the 50% your courses for the most part, except for some specific exceptions. But you have to have a 60% grade point average in order to graduate. So when you calculate all the grades that you had through the whole time that you're here for your course, so maybe 2 years or 3 years, you put them all together and then see what your grade point average, and it has to be at least a 60% to graduate. Except for, say, parental nursing, PSW, they require you to have a 65% to pass each and every course, except for gen eds. So teaching is also a little different in high school and college. You'll find in high school, they took your attendance every day, and parents would get calls if a student in the household missed a class. In college, the attendance isn't taken regularly, although they are aware of who's in class and who isn't. And they do not call home. They just kind of make a note of it and keep track of who hasn't been in class very often so that they can follow up on that afterwards. In high school, they'll monitor your work regularly. So if you have homework, they'll check it every time. Whereas in college, they don't check your daily work. They may talk about it and have class discussions, but they will not check everything every time. They may suddenly check something one time, but not necessarily all the time. In high school, they share their knowledge and their facts, same as they do in college. But in college, you may have a full 3-hour lecture one day, and then you don't have that class again until the next week. So you're learning a lot of information in that one chunk of time. So you want to make sure that you attend because you're missing a lot, and you wouldn't be prepared for the next class if you do not attend the regularly classes. And then in college, they have an expectation of independent study. So they give you readings to do before class or after class. And they also expect you to search out other information from a variety of sources as well, especially for assignments. They may expect you to get information from at least 3 sources, different kinds of sources like journals or books or websites. And they are able to kind of pick out, and you have to also indicate where you got your sources or where you got your information. And then the last one that I wanted to discuss between high school and college differences is freedom. So high school, like I said, you have a structured day. Every day is pretty much the same in your semester. You have 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's monitored by your teachers and parents as well. Parents like to make sure they go to school. But once you get to college, no one is monitoring you or telling you you need to get up and go to class. It's up to you as an adult to be able to be independent and get to class on time, to be able to get all your assignments done on time, make sure you don't miss your tests. All those things. And that's a challenge. It's a big learning curve, figuring out how to manage your time. We always suggest that even though you only have 20 hours of class, that you treat your program as a full-time job and use all the rest of those hours to do your homework and research and study, so that and do it on campus because you're more likely to get it done. And then when you go home, you have a little more freedom to do some self-care, family time, other responsibilities, that kind of thing. That all goes together to make you more successful. And if you ever have struggles with any of those things, that's what the student success mentors and your learning skills advisors are there to provide some support around that.
Hi, it's Bev again. Part of our role with accessibility services is providing learning strategies, which could include extra support with time management, study skills, test taking, note taking, advocacy skills, etc. Attending college can be much different than high school, as explained by Mary in the previous slide. We find extra support is needed at times. My psychology degree was focused on how we learn. The accessibility team look forward to exploring options with you. The main areas I find students are seeking extra support is with time management and study skills. Through my research and working with students for a number of years, I found that time management can be one of the largest factors related to academic success. For example, if a student completes their homework and forgets to submit it on time, they could be at risk of getting a 0. So it's not the student is not capable of being successful, it's a matter of being organized and aware of their academic tasks. Each instructor will explain their policies related to submissions requirements through the course outline. So it's important to be aware of your responsibilities as a student. Since many of our students will be completing the majority of their work from home and or in residence this fall, it will be even more important to develop a realistic schedule so you can balance your personal life with your academic responsibilities. Creating a personal schedule or start using the calendar feature with your electronic devices will be important to consider when you start your program. If you're unsure of how to set up a schedule, please contact your accessibility person for help. With study skills, our focus is on active as opposed to passive learning and not memorization. We can help identify some small changes to the way you prepare for quizzes and tests and exams, so you're studying smarter and not harder. You may be surprised that you have already developed some great strategies, and adding a few minor changes is all that you need. Or we're also happy to suggest a different approach. If you require a text-to-voice software program when you're in Blackboard, please ask us to send the Read Speaker poster. This software is already embedded in Blackboard, so it's free and available to all students for their course notes or when you need to write tests, quizzes, etc. We have handouts that support the different approaches or explanations to strategies. Also, there's a link for study tips and resources in the slide.
Hi, it's Susan again. During these times, it may be even more important to set up regular scheduled appointments with your accessibility services team member to discuss your progress and or any concerns that you may have during your academic journey. Setting up regular scheduled appointments will also allow you an opportunity to review your ISP and accommodations needs. Learning and developing new strategies as needed is also very important. Loyalist College, especially Student Success, has many services available to help support our students. Attending regular scheduled appointments will help determine what services may be needed earlier than later. Mary would discuss this further on the next slide.
So these are a list of some of the referrals that we make when we're at the college. One of the first things that we recommend to students is peer tutoring. Peer tutoring is available to all students, and they usually have one-to-one tutoring for program-specific courses, as well as tutors that are available to help out with math and English, which tends to be the most requested support that students ask for. Everyone's entitled to 10 hours a month, which is quite a good amount. So, say 2.5 hours a week, then that's a lot of time to spend working with a tutor to ensure that you understand the information in your program. So what we do is we get you to fill out an application on the Loyalist website, and it goes to the coordinator of the tutoring services, and she matches you up with the number of your student. And most of the time, we don't have any challenge with getting tutors, but sometimes it is a bit of a challenge. And also, peer tutoring is a paid position. So if students feel that they are capable of helping other students, you can also apply to be a tutor as well. The assistive technologist, Ted, is part of our office who helps us support students in accessing assistive technology, exploring different kinds of technology, and also in purchasing technology if that is something that a student needs. And he's very well aware of any new upcoming technology, software, equipment that might be available, and is always looking for new apps and things like that that would be helpful to ensure that students can get the support they need and be independent as well, which is really great. Counseling is available on campus. We have 2 full-time counselors. They're both wonderful, and they are able to meet with students. If we can refer them to counseling, we refer a student to Student Success, who then provides an intake form that would be attached to their file so that they can book an appointment around your class schedule. And you may only need a counseling appointment once, you may need a little more consistent, or they can help you eventually enter some counseling in the community as well. So they really are a great support for students on campus. Psychologists, so we have a psychologist that we work with regularly to do some documentation screening, update or get new assessments. However, during COVID, if that continues to be a challenge, it's definitely put on hold. They are always open to reviewing the older documentation for people who have already had an assessment, but that is expiring. And we'll do some screening and provide some documentation around that. More questions, we can definitely discuss that later on. So another referral that we provide is to our health services. So we have a student health center on campus, and we have Lauren Deans, who is a full-time nurse that is there for the hours of the center. And then we also have Dr. Stanix, who is available for, I believe, two half days a week of appointments, especially for students who don't have doctors or are out of they're away from their hometown where their home doctor would be. And it's very much like a clinic. So you can get immunizations there. You can go there for, Band-Aids, just to check up, things like that, get blood work done, many different things. And it's a really great resource that we have on campus. We also have student success mentors, and I am a student success mentor, and I am only one of 5 mentors, and we all work with different programs. So I work in accessibility services, but I also work with the health and human services programs, such as SSW, ECE, paramedics, nursing, practical nursing, OTPT, all those different programs. And then depending on what your program is, you'll have a specific student success mentor who's very familiar with the program, of the program of study. So, prerequisites, co-requisites, and all those kinds of things if you're deciding on a different course load or extending the amount of time it's going to take to complete your program, the student success mentor will work with you and your faculty to create a plan for you that works to help you consistently move forward, and that would also work with your funding as well, those kinds of things, and your documentation or accommodations that you might need. So we work around all those things with accessibility services if needed, with counseling, whoever would be really important in that discussion, and help to make sure that you get the course load that you need, the support that you need. And we also work with students to complete time management, study skills, organization, preparing for tests, advocacy, so advocating for yourself with faculty, We attend meetings with faculty and students just as a support, all those kinds of things that we will do as a student success mentor. And then we would refer you to any other areas in the college that might be helpful to you depending on your situation. So it could be the service desk, which does a lot of the IT supports, could be enrollment services, who helps with things like diplomas, transfer credits, PLAR, the financial aid office is in there, so we might refer you to the financial aid office, career services, and there's so much more. So anytime you have a question, you can go right to your student success mentor. They will refer you to all these things as well. And if it's accessibility related, obviously you would go to your person in accessibility services. Yeah, and that's it.
Hi, it's Bev. And to finish up with a slide presentation, I like to end with this picture. It is a great reminder that there are many different things that can happen behind the scenes and before you walk across the stage during graduation, signifying success. Many of your family members, friends, and supporters do not see the persistence, sacrifice, hard work, dedication, or how difficult it was to create good habits while attending college. And yes, there are times you may be disappointed with your marks or have failed a test, assignment, or a course. It is common to have any or all of these experiences while attending college. I always say high school is what you have to do, but college is what you want to do. If you're committed to your program and being successful but are struggling, please reach out for support. We also like to hear about your successes, and we will celebrate with you when you graduate.